stuff.
Okay, I've started it. I'm starting my timer.
Stop. Go that way. Maybe.
All right, my timer is going. Not that that keeps us at all from going over.
Oh, I mean,
talking.
I should probably do at least 10 minutes on this sweater because, I'm losing the will to live on sleeves.
Oh, boy. Hello, YouTube world.
Hello, welcome to the Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
It's the Liz and Rebecca show. Yay! It's Tuesday.
Yeah. All day. It's our Monday.
It's our Monday. So last week we said we're too tired because we got up too early. And now I believe I'm too tired because the time changed. There's always a reason. I always have an excuse for why I might be too tired.
I looked at the clock in the car on the way here and I went, it's 7:30? Wait, what? Oh, I forgot to change the clock in the car.
I was able to fix that because my clock runs late. And now maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But we have a clock at home that ran so fast over time. It keeps speeding up that it's only 5 minutes ahead now instead of an hour ahead. But I just slammed the table because you made me think about how dark it is in the morning now. It's sad. Driving to work, the sun still hadn't come up over the mountains.
Yeah.
And, that's just sad. It does mean...
Go ahead. No.
It does mean that hopefully as soon as it warms up, we can start having knit night outside.
Outside would
Love
be
that.
fantastic.
Fantastic. I don't think we ever did introductions.
Nope.
So this is Liz. She's my minion here at the shop.
This is my boss. She's Rebecca at the shop.
And what shop is that, you might be asking?
Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
Yay! So, we kind of have a plan and we kind of don't have a plan for today. So we're going to see what happens. Like last time we had a topic. We had a great topic, knit versus crochet, which is not actually a competition. And we don't have a plan today. And you're having issues.
Yarn barf is about to happen.
Yarn barf!
Oh,
it's
good.
It escaped. Okay. Or it didn't barf.
It didn't barf.
Well, we shouted it anyway.
It's
right?
okay.
So I figure we'll start off by checking in on things that we're working on, and then we can see where it goes. So you want to start?
I am working on, and I can never say this right, the Il Grande Favorito.
El Grande Favorito. Oh,
by
Italian.
Isabel Kramer. It's project, I want to say 70 something.
Okay.
And
just for our listeners who are listening for the first time, how many projects do you have going right now?
I'm only at 99.
99.
I frogged one to get a pair of needles to start project 99. 100 keeps eluding me, and I feel bad.
You just need to rip the Band-Aid off and put another project on needles just so you can say you have 100.
I so need to do that.
You do. Tonight, knit night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is a sweater. We're gonna get back to. I think we might talk sweaters a little bit, or that might be a theme throughout the this episode. We'll see. Can we show people what it looks like so far? Or is that not gonna happen?
I cropped it because I'm short and I wear all of my dresses poofy at the bottom, so I can't wear a traditionally long sweater. So
well, and cropped sweaters are very fashionable right now. Having a sweater that only comes down to about here. I find because I don't wear cool skirts like Liz does, a cropped sweater does me no good because I have muffin top. And I want to hide that, so I don't do that. But it's very fashionable right now.
This one is, I'm doing it on a big needle. I want to say the pattern calls for a big needle.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already got the neckline done. And it probably won't ever get blocked because I don't like blocking
She doesn't
sweaters.
do that. I do that. She doesn't do that. Liz, I feel like you have a philosophy of block with wear. Like it'll do what it needs to do.
Most of my big shawls, they're like garter, and I garter eyelet because I find that it actually stays open instead of collapsing in on itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you stockinette garter, and blocking with wear when you make them as big as I do, like,
They
I
kind
have
of take
three
care of themselves.
I have 3 shawls made that are over 1,000 yards of worsted weight
It's impressive.
yarn, and I have quite a few other shawls on needles that it will be over 1,000 yards of worsted weight yarn. So like that size doesn't lend well to blocking unless I could grow 6 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, I think we mentioned this in another video. Blocking, in theory, I got this far on my knitting masters and then I stopped, and it was level 1, my blocking report. In theory, blocking is what happens like the first time you wash something that is hand knit or crocheted. You have a chance to kind of set it in place. And blocking is actually pinning it, laying it out after that first washing so that you can control how it is set. And some people do it and some people don't. And some garments lend themselves to it better than others. I block a lot. And you can see on Instagram, I think, my Papillon, my first Papillon that's finished, the before and after. Blocking actually did help it take shape. But it was much thinner and it didn't have the weight to help it take its shape.
Yeah.
Your worsted weight Papillon, you didn't block.
Nope.
Not at all. So you are working on the sleeves right now.
I'm working on the sleeves, and because
2 at a time.
2 at a time,
big or go home.
so I don't lose the will to live. And
It's just a slower process, but you're done when you're done, you know.
because my sweaters are short, like everybody's like sleeves take the same amount of time as your sweater because, you know, long sleeves take just forever. Because my sweaters are short, I can do the body of the sweater super fast. And then I've got 2 inches, but I've been working, this has been languishing, and
Yes, so it's actually a good thing that we're filming today because then you're actually working on it.
I'm actually working on it, if I
So-
can find where all my strings are.
So I will talk about a little bit about sweater construction, that kind of stuff. So both Liz and I are working on sweaters that we would call top down. Starts up here and it goes down. And there's also, and it's in one piece basically, right? Like yours was in the round, we would call it. And so is this one that I'm working on that I showed off. Ta-da! I showed this off last week. I have made a little progress on one sleeve. I didn't have that done. This, just like hers, it was, you do it down to about here. This one had a little funky construction we talked about last time. But you put the sleeves on stitch holders and you finish, and then you can put these back on a needle. The other cool thing I am doing with this is I don't have needles that are as small as the sleeve, especially as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So I am doing what's called magic loop. And so are you with your 2 at a time.
I'm doing 2 circulars.
2, oh, never mind. 2
So
circulars.
as soon as I finish this row, I will, or
You can
this
show that off,
side,
yeah.
I will
This
show that off.
magic loop, called that because you have loops going on. If I was gonna go knit this side, see if I can show you this real quick. This side goes up on the needle, this one pulls out to meet it. And what you end up with, especially with my kinky cables, you end up with a loop on both sides. So magic loop. You're looping around and dividing the stitches in half. And I think we're about to get a visit from the mailman.
Of course you are.
So we'll just say hi to him while we're filming. So, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Stay dry out there.
I'll try.
You at the end of your row?
I'm at the end of my row.
Okay.
So, in fact, I'm at the end of the row. So the back half of my sleeves are on one set, and the front half are on another set.
It's pretty cool.
And when you start the row, you just work across one set of
One
needles.
set of needles, yeah. And let the other one just hold the
I
stitches.
I like magic loop, but I found for sleeves, I don't know. Sometimes for sleeves I do.
It can get a little confusing for 2 at a time, anything,
Yeah.
sleeves or socks. Having one really long cable, it can get.
I think I like it with the really long cable for like cuffs, or not cuffs, but like my elbow or gauntlet thingies, or socks. Even though I've never made socks, I've started.
But she would. She'd do it if she could.
I think I've started like 3 sets of leg warmers.
Uh-huh.
They're way down the list in the, you know.
she finishes what she likes, and the other things maybe she'll get back to.
But I don't
think
mind
all of us
magic
do
loop
that,
for that. But my sleeves, I don't know, for some reason sleeves, and I think it could be all the bulk of everything else under the sweater.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
so here's my thing with magic loop and 2 at a time and double point needles, is anything that requires double point needles, which sometimes freak people out, you can also magic loop, or you can do 2 circular. And I think I said 2 at a time, I meant 2 circular. Anyway, my brain will do that sometimes. And vice versa. So anything that calls for those things, you can always shift to another thing. And each thing has its own level of complication.
Yeah.
And some people will find that worse than others. And as soon as I learned to magic loop, I said, oh my gosh, I'm never going to use double points again. I still use double points. I've come back to them. I only recently learned the 2 circular method, and it's super awesome, except I am so used to magic loop that I will forget that I'm only supposed to be using 1 set of circulars and then flipping to the other, and I will end up on 1 needle when I should be on 2. And my timer's actually already gone off.
Really?
So we talked just about these few sweaters for like the whole time. So I'm going to say a couple more things about sweaters, because we love sweaters. And then we'll do a check-in of some other projects, and we'll wrap up for the day, because we got going kind of late today because my phone wasn't charging very well. And we need to open the shop.
What happens when you show up to work with a phone that's only like 20% charged?
Oops.
I don't know anybody like that around here.
It's not a thing.
No.
It's so not a thing. So let me end with this. I mean, there's so many ways to make a sweater. We're talking about top down. This one is a version that I'm wearing of a top down. But then there's also bottom up. You can do that in a circle. Has its own complications. There's also making the front and the back and the sleeves and sewing it all together, and that is its own level of complication too. It's just which do you hate more, holders and other things, or sewing when you're done, or yeah.
I've found over the last 2 years working here that just like magic loop, double points, 2 circulars, pulling from the inside or outside of a ball, everybody has their own preference.
Yes.
And sometimes they think that's the only way to...
Yeah, everyone thinks they know what is right, which means they have their own opinion on it.
I only do sweaters that you seam together. How come you don't? And because not everybody likes seaming. Not everybody likes double points.
Yeah,
not everybody
exactly.
likes pulling from the inside of the ball and yelling, I've got yarn bark. I like pulling from the ball and yelling yarn bark.
So this sweater that I'm wearing, it's one of my favorites. It is very old. I want to say this one is maybe not as old as my others, but it's pretty old. It has cables and lace in it, combining it all. And it's from this book that I think I got at a thrift store called Knit On Down. It is called Awesome Cables. I mean, I had to make it because of the name. And it is an amalgamation. It doesn't fit into any category quite right, because it starts here, but it's not done in the round until you get down here. It is started with a provisional cast on up here. We keep talking about provisional cast on. I really need to do more videos about that.
Do you pick up stitches for the sleeves, or are they sewn in?
I think they're sewn in, but I'm going to check. But it's provisional cast on up here, and you go down and do the back. And provisional cast on means waste yarn that you can unzip later, kind of. And then when you're down to here, you put it on holders, and you unzip this, and you start doing the front. And when the front is long enough, you put it on circulars and go all the way in a circle. So there's no side seam, and there's no top seam. There's no seam along your shoulder. Now, some people really like seamed sweaters because it gives the sweater a little more structure instead of feeling kind of like a bag on you. This had shaping in it to give it a more hourglass shape. And since I'm no longer an hourglass, it's just form-fitting now. But there is what feels like a seam or a join. Where is it? Right here.
Yeah, I can't tell whether it's picking up stitches. It might be picking up stitches.
It might be. I think you might be right. Sleeves. Picking up and knitting. Yes. So there's no sewing in this one at all, because you come back and there's an edge here and you pick up stitches as you go. and then you knit off of it, and you pick up stitches over here and knit off of it. It's partly why it was one of my first sweaters, because it didn't have a whole lot of seaming. I kind of tried to avoid that when I was just getting into sweaters.
My first sweater is still in. I've got the back and half a front done, and that was from 2+ years ago.
So let's do a little bit of a wrap up. What we were going to start with was a check in on on projects that we're doing. Let's just give people a taste at the end here of what we're working on. I'm going to start with my non-Papillon and work to the Papillon. So I showed you, I think this is a fun example to build on our conversation last time of how pros and cons, knit versus crochet, they both have pros, they both have cons. I showed you guys on Thursday, I had done about this much of this crochet shawl I'm teaching at the end of the month. And even with my busy schedule and filming for my tips and tricks channel, I made progress. I made a lot more progress than I did on any of my knitting. So this is called Falling Blossoms.
Ooh, I like that. It's so soft.
It's so soft and squishy. It's made with Nuble, which is a light fingering, almost a lace weight yarn from Arcania, I think.
Yeah.
And it is wool and silk. It's a single ply. It's so squishy. I'm on a teeny tiny hook. Liz would just glare at me for that. But Falling Blossoms, I don't know if you can see, I'm starting to make the blossom part here. I have this kind of open work is really hard to do with knit. I saw, and a little bit more open work here. I saw a post on Knit and Chat recently that said, is this thing in Along Came Polly, was it knit or crochet? And anyone who does knit and crochet could take one look at it and say, it's crochet, because it's so open and lacy looking. I think that's the only other thing I was going to show except my Papillon. Do you have anything else to show off except
I'm
Papillons?
Still working on my private school scarf. Because we've been joking about how do you tell the difference in sheep wool. Like merino is very, very soft, and I joke it went to private school. And then other sheep is roving gangs of sheep that will knock you over for protection money.
And like, a little bit closer to being scratchy.
It's scratchy, and but this uses it's ba on one side, the speckle,
which is merino,
which is
just soft,
and the other side is Yana Journey's solid, and it is so soft for roving gangs of sheep. Like
because it's not merino. Like most people, when they hear the word merino, they don't think it's wool because it's so soft, and it's just because it's a nice sheep. Yeah, like the stuff on it,
bred to be so soft.
And the Yana is not merino; it is wool, but it's super fine wool. Yeah. So
it went to private school on scholarship.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's my only not other.
And this is very squishy. And this is brioche. This is an example of knitting brioche flat, where you need to keep track of what side is what and what is doing what on what side, which happens to be a class I am teaching a week from Saturday. I've got 2 sessions. I call it brioche level 2. This is brioche level 1, knitting brioche in the round, where each color has only one job, knit or purl. And then brioche level 2 is like what you did, which haven't had my ends in yet, which is depending on the side you're on, you need to keep flipping sides. And so knit or purl on that side depends on what side you're looking at, which color has that job. So it's a little more to keep track of. And you have at least one row where you didn't keep track.
I have one row at the very bottom when I was starting because
Yep. Yeah. So let's do Papillons.
Okay. I started a new one. So now I have like 4 on needles, although I'll only show the latest.
You
2.
go first.
This one is for my sister. She doesn't like little shawls, she informed me, and I told her that's okay, I don't make little shawls. So this one is for her.
That's gonna be so pretty.
Yeah, I'm still early in it because I'm trying to rotate through them now. And this is my latest one, and it's going to be the
that one's very cool.
The fade, where you pick the 6 colors with a pop, and my needles are short. I had to steal a set of needles out of a project. That's why it's $99.
So all the Papillons we've been making so far, like this one is, I've only made a little bit of room on it. We're gonna hold that back up again in a second. In my video, I made a video about carrying yarn on the edge, and I said, I'm nowhere near carrying yarn on the edge on this one, and I'm nowhere near a green or a blue square. And then I realized I was on a green and blue square. And I did that over the weekend. I haven't made a lot of progress on mine, but this is an example, and all the other Papillons we've been making so far are examples of just using a color changing yarn, or sticking with one yarn for the main color and one yarn for the contrast. Now that one that you were just showing,
The purple?
no, the fade one.
This one?
You're actually going to be changing colors as you go. So one color, another color, and back and forth. And you're following the moth instructions?
I'm following the moth instructions. You use color 1 for the first 4, and then color 2, and back to color 1, and back to color 2, and then color 1 before you're done. And then you throw your pop of color, like...
So she's gonna have a lot of ends to weave in, or she's gonna weave in as she goes, but it's gonna look so cool to do this.
These are all going to be in there at some point.
And I think that's just gonna be awesome. So it's going to have color changes going on, but she is actually manipulating the color to make that happen. So I have 2 more potential Papillons that I might start eventually. I just have too much to do. This one is going to be cotton, mostly cotton, a little bit of wool. This is Vintersol concha, 1 strand of cotton, 1 strand of wool twined together. It's what Liz has used holding double-stranded in the purple one, with quinoa from Berroco. And I'm thinking about this. This will be a little bigger than those because it's a little thicker. I'm also super excited by the idea of doing this, which would be a little sparkly. And the Lang Puno fades on its own. And we debated at knit night possibly throwing a strand of mohair into this.
Because then you'd have the soft and fuzzy.
Soft and fuzzy. And this is way too much yarn. I probably wouldn't make it all the way through if I did it on size 4 needles. But if I throw something else in and do it on a bigger needle, I might actually get through it all. And I'll have a shawl that's almost as big as yours. Not quite. Almost.
Shoot. So. We got to work on her slowly with the upping the sizes. So
I have to sell some of the yarn in the shop and not use it all to knit with. But
well, yeah, but you don't have to make little samples.
That was easy.
My mom gave me this. This is a great way to end. My mom gave me this. We have 2 things here in the shop. This we got for Christmas from my mom. This is from Amy D. This is our when you finish something. Yay! Celebrate that you got something done. And then my mom, I think this is actually a regift, but it's still really cool.
It's a Staples button.
It's a Staples button.
That was easy.
And sometimes we accidentally hit it, and sometimes when we finish something hard, we go...
That was easy.
Anyway, we have a lot of fun here in the shop. If you're local, come play with us. If not, or even if you are, please subscribe and share it with your friends so more people can know the joy of the Liz and Rebecca show. And we hope you've stuck with us all the way through this episode. I have no idea how far over, like 10 minutes we are. We're
or
probably
if the
at
camera
20.
died.
We don't even know. We're going to check.
Stay
Bye.
tuned for more adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna go look.
Okay.
Which way should I don't want to trip. I'm a little clumsy.
Big, like, excursion steps.
So we just checked, and that was 23 minutes.
Oops.
We like talking. If you like talking, or us talking, whatever, because this is gonna make it like 25. Please tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll try to talk more about that thing.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Good job.
That will not be on the blooper reel, or maybe it will be. I don't know.
Maybe it will be.
I don't know. So you ready?